hoping you can see a beautiful, beautiful Siamese fighting fish. In Thai, we call them pakat, which means fighting fish. And, they're also called betas commonly here in the US. So, I got some water gardens going, some tiny little pondlets. They're just big pots that have water plants in them and some fish just for added beauty and interest, to create these little ecosystems. He's very shy, so I'm excited to get him on camera. But also to control the mosquitoes. It only really takes a few days for there to be quite a lot of mosquito larvae in these pots without the fish. Okay. So, hello, this is Bo. Thank you for joining me, talking a little bit about these mini water gardens that I did. I'm by no means an expert. This is my first experiment with them, and we had some pretty epic fails at the beginning, but now we have a pretty good system going, so hopefully you can sort of learn from my mistakes. So there's 2 of them, and these pots were a gift from my folks for Mother's Day. I've always wanted them, but being an apartment dweller for so long, it just wasn't very practical. But now we've got our own place, so we're doing some neat projects we wouldn't normally have done. I'm really excited about this water lily. My very favorite flower is the water lily. They're so beautiful to me. You just cannot beat them. So I got these at Berkeley Horticultural Nursery. They have a really nice little water plant section. And what I didn't know was that they open up during the day and they close at night. So I went to go show my friend the blooming water lily yesterday evening, and it had closed up shop for the night. And that's just my first one. The one in the other pot is a different color. I think it's more of a golden color. And there's a red Siamese fighting fish who lives somewhere in here. Here's another one, and I'll look up what it is and put it in the description because I forgot. But this one has little yellow flowers, and I sort of foolishly, in an effort to declutter the pot a little bit so it didn't get completely overgrown, there is 1, maybe 2 guppies living in here, and I just didn't want them to run out of space. I removed some of the shoots, and I think a lot of them ended up being flowering shoots. So now I know what that looks like. They kind of create this little cluster that the buds come off of. And I was pulling those out. That's probably why it took so long to blossom. And this little yellow bud does open up, and it's very pretty. So, some of the lessons that we learned, one is that if you're going to get like a terracotta pot that isn't fully glazed, the water will seep out. These are pots that have a drainage hole at the bottom, so my stepdad used some marine epoxy to seal that up. And, in Thailand, like my uncles have these, and they don't have wires or bubbles coming in or out of them, or at least not that we ever noticed, so we didn't think we had to. But the plants started to die almost immediately after setting them up, and the water was really, really mucky and full of algae after just a day or 2. So what cleared everything up and made the plants really healthy, and the fish, I'm sure, appreciated it a lot, was adding a bubbler. So I'm about to turn them on for the day. Let me show you. Okay, so I just have kind of a pump. I bought whatever. The pet store was almost totally out of everything, so I just kind of bought the air pump that would support the approximate gallons in each of these vessels here. And each of them has an air stone. And it just helps the bubbles to just be like nicer and finer and more controlled. Otherwise, it just seemed like too much bubbling and craziness for the fish. I'm gonna turn it on and I'll show you. So I also have a little heater in each, and that's just for the fish. So even though they probably wouldn't outright die from the cold, I put my hand in one of these in the morning to make some kind of adjustment, and the water was so cold it hurt my hand, and I thought, gee, if it's hurting my hand, it must really be awful for the fish. So I got some little heaters for them. So you can see that going, just little, and you know, the sound in the moving water is nice. My beautiful, gorgeous rock purslane, calendrinia, and jade plant kind of helping to hide the ugly cords a little bit for us. And I also got these stones. I don't know if you could see, but there's a little fake stone in there. I think it's called a true rock. It wasn't cheap, man. I mean, I think it was like $50 per silly fake rock. But they look pretty real, so maybe it was worth it.